We'll be speaking about something I think every person on earth needs to hear. And that is, think different, be different, think for yourself, be yourself. I remember when my young son came home from school one day. He was a little kid, maybe 6, 7 years old. He was very excited. I asked him, what are you so excited about? He said, I heard something really nice today. I was a father. I was excited to hear what he was excited about. And I said, what'd you hear? He said, I heard you were born an original. Don't become a copy. So, a little while ago, my son today is a father of his own, almost 40 years old. So I asked him, do you remember that day you came home from school? No, he didn't even remember, but I did. So I said to him, so what happened with you? Are you an original or a copy? What did you become? Now, no pun intended, my son happens to be a copywriter. He's a creative director, brilliant, wordsmith. So his response to me, to my question, what happened with you? Did you become a copy or an original? He said, I'm an original copy. Whatever that means. One of the most powerful but also tragic poems is The Voiceless by Oliver Wendell Holmes, where he writes, alas, to those that die with their song still inside them. Maybe paraphrased a bit. Alas, to those that die with their song still inside them. You, I, every single person on this earth has unique song, I would say unique songs, a unique voice to express something that you and only you can express. However, and this needs to be analyzed, we live in a world where we're pressured to conform. Nobody admits they're a conformist, mind you. I've traveled the world many times. I've asked people, many audiences. Any conformists in the room? Very, very few people will raise their hand. So I come here to report to you that there are millions of non-conformists. But we all know that's not true. We conform. Firstly, we are a need, we're social beings that need to feel belong, accepted. So whether it's our parents initially, later our classmates, our schools, our educators, our social influences, we want to fit in. Everybody likes to be a little original, but not too much, not to be weird. So what happens is, other people's voices, other people's opinions, other people's expectations and demands begin to shape us. And we lose sight of our own voice. I'm not going to say we lose our voice, we just lose sight of it. So if you ask yourself today, who are you? Are you an original? Or are you a copy of someone else? Willingly or unwillingly? Consciously or unconsciously? Not such an easy question to answer. Because we'd like to think that we are being ourselves, being original, being unique, being out of the box, but then the question is, what does your box look like before you're out of the box? And remember, especially early impressions in our formative years, impressionable years, shape us to the point we may not even know whether we're following our own program or someone else's. How many of us are still really just doing what our parents wanted us to do and never found our own voice? And if you have parents who are demanding and pressuring and very insistent and also suffocating, often we just give up. And at such a young age, we don't even know about it. We're not even aware. You have someone that criticizes you a lot to fit a certain way. So often you become someone that you were not necessarily even meant to be. It's not always a bad thing, influences. But one of the most important things, it's actually from the Bible. Abraham. the great Abraham, the original nonconformist, the original pioneer, trailblazer, the first thing that he's told is, leave your homeland, leave the birth of your parents, leave the birthplace, the home of your parents and your birthplace. 3 different expressions. Leave your land, leave your birthplace, and leave the home of your parents. Because it's emphasizing that these forces in each one of our lives shape us. They turn us into the subjective creatures that we are. Now, not all influences, I said, are negative, but many of them very often limit us, they constrict us. And we feel we'll only be good if we do this, if you do that. So how do we create a balance where we can learn from those influences in our lives, but that they don't redefine us, they don't reshape us, they actually help us become who we should be? Every bird, and the same with every human being, needs to have a nest. We need nurturing, we need protection, and we need direction and guidance. That's what good, healthy parenting would do. But what happens as the bird gets older? You want to be able to spread your wings and become yourself. I always think of the tree. The tree, the only thing that grows in 2 directions at once. Deep roots, firmly founded, unwavering, strong. But then the tree expands outward, branches outward, and produces its own leaves and fruit. That's what life is all about. We want to have deep roots. We want to have those connections, the good influences in our lives, but we don't want them to limit our ability to be ourselves. Now, it needs a lot of courage to find your own voice, to sing your song. But the first step comes by asking the question, who are you? What you're doing today, is it a result of someone else's demands and expectations and pressures, or is it really coming from the depths of your own soul? So that question is critical, because half the question of a wise person is the answer. The second thing is to identify what is it that really resonates with you. I've met people who said, I've never been able to do what I really enjoyed. I love playing music, but I was told no. Found a way to make a living. And I was basically almost forced to do something that was not my natural skills. When I asked this individual, I said, do you ever play music? No. I was trained to think of it as like a waste of time, extracurricular. Now, this individual had come to see me for different issues, and I said, you have to reclaim your voice. I'm not saying stop everything else that you're doing, but you need to reclaim that part of yourself. Because if you don't express who you really are, even if you're not aware of it, it has to implode and it has to have negative impact